fitting shoe, and it is available with the Derby lace or the classic Oxford, or an addition to the range is the chucker boot with the 3 eyelet tie. They all carry the leather sole with a full leather heel and a quarter rubber, and they're in F and G fittings. You will find that our G fittings are slightly more generous than other manufacturers, but we find that more of a bonus than a hindrance. When you try the chucker boot on, sometimes you find it a little restricting through the lace, but once having got your foot down inside the shoe, then it is equally as comfortable as the classic shoes. This particular style is from our Imperial range. It's in the very finest lightweight calf, 5 eyelet tie, slightly finer sole, just a little closer edge, a little more detail, and it's in channel, where we raise a lip of leather around the outer edge of the sole, we stitch into the channel, and then we stick it back down again. And it also has this rather distinctive waist, this London waist, where if you'd had a pair of shoes made bespoke in the St James area of London, that's how you would expect it to look. And they're very special shoes. And perhaps you'd just like to try one on, just to see how it goes. Okay. It's always better to use your shoe horn when trying on shoes, because it saves pushing the back down and your foot will slip in much easier. When trying new shoes on, one would expect to have a little gap in the V here for lacing, so when the shoe does stretch, you've got a little adjustment. The most important fitting of a shoe is actually from the heel to the joint, because your joint is the widest part of the foot, and it should fit in the widest part of the shoe, which is right on the apex there. Not so much to worry about from the joint to the toe, because that will look after itself. And if you get the heel to the joint correct, that means the arch of your foot is sitting in the correct area of the shoe. So perhaps you'd just like to stand on that, and we'll have a look and see how it fits. I think that is quite comfortable. How does it feel to you?
Excellent.
Does it?
Very nice.
Okay, well you might like to try something with a slightly different lace. That is what we call the Oxford lace. You can see from the style of shoe we're showing you here, it is what we call the Derby lace, which is very much more open at the throat, and if you happen to have a high instep, then your foot will just slip into it. So let's just stop, in we go, and it was very much easier for your foot to go in. Again, the same fitting formula applies, that the heel to the joint is important, and again we can lace it up, and we've still got this nice little area here for adjustment when the shoe settles down. So just stand up on that and we'll have a look. See, the heel clip is very good. You will notice that a lot of our lasts are what we call combination lasts, so it's wider in the forepart and it's more tailored to the heel. That's why you get this very nice heel clip that sits in very close. And that again, I think would be a very comfortable fitting for you. Mostly it's just a matter of personal taste, whether you prefer the Oxford lace or the Derby. But you know, some people have a high instep, so they're obviously pushed in that direction. Another style of boot which you would like to consider may be Jackie, which is the classic chucker boot. Again, it's Goodyear welted construction, which you may or may not know, which means that the sole is actually stitched through to the upper. And this carries a day-night rubber sole, which is non-slip and has lots of properties. You don't get any wet penetration up through the sole, it's non-slip, and it is particularly hard wearing. So if you'd just like to prop your foot in there. Again, use of a shoe horn, it saves forcing the back of the boot down. Also again, we've still got the adjustment for when the boot settles down a little bit and you need the laces a little bit closer. Nice heel fitting, joint here, widest part of the shoe, it's fine, no creasing under the arch. Stand up on it. You know, again, a very smart boot, but with the high performance sole. It'll give you a lot of good wear. The secret of rubber soles is to keep the heels nicely repaired. If you wear down the heel, then you tend to walk on the outside of the shoe, and that will accelerate the wear in the sole. So just keep an eye on the heels, keep them nicely repaired, which obviously leads me on to another topic, doesn't it? We at Cheney repair shoes, and we're delighted for people to send their shoes back to the factory for what we would call reconditioning. They're totally stripped down and they go back on their original lasts. It takes about 3 weeks to do, and you will be totally amazed the transformation. For a third of the price of a replacement pair of shoes, you have a new pair. I'm always extremely proud when I bring out a pair of repairs, because the customer will say, "Oh, are they my shoes?" And you can say, "Yes, they are." It's a wonderful feeling, wonderful feeling. I think you have a pair of shoes that will give you great pleasure to wear. My predecessor, Norman Copperwaite, had a little expression. He used to say, when you've got over the cost of anything that you purchase, the joy of using it goes on. And I think he was quite right to say that.
That's true. That's true. Great. Thank you very much, Martin.
This is tweed. This is the tweed boot, which forms part of our country collection. It carries the traditional welted sole with a storm welt and the heavy cleated sole. So this is deal, complemented by the full brogue Hythe and half brogue Tenterden. All carry the Rambler rubber sole. This is the 125 collection, and it is mainly sourced by the 5 eyelet Derby, accompanied with the leather sole, the full brogue 5 eyelet Oxford lace, very comfortable, easy to wear, again with the leather sole, excellent business shoe. We have a Jackie boot, which is the classic chucker boot, again on the leather sole. These are available in 2 fittings, F and G. So it's moving on to the slightly more contemporary last. It's just a little bit more square on the toe. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want pointed toes because they're going to crease my feet and they're going to be hard to wear. As we said earlier, the important fitting is heel to ball, and if you get this right, your toes will look after themselves. We have that in the Oxford and the 2 eyelet tie, plain lace up. Classic business styles, full brogue, a classic cap, and the Chelsea boot, all on leather soles. The very pinnacle of our range is our Imperial shoe. Now these are very fine, lightweight leathers on fine leather soles, and this is stitched in channel, and by that we mean when we make it, we lift a lip of leather around the sole edge, we stitch into the sole, and then we glue the lip of leather back, so you don't see any of the stitching which you would see in a conventional construction. Okay. Also, we have this rather unique waist, which we call a London waist, which if you'd had a pair of shoes bespoke, handmade in the St James area of London, that's how you would expect to look.